All right. All right, people, my name is Tim Black. Welcome to a special edition of the Tim Black Show. My special guest will be here momentarily. We're set to go at 6, but I figured I'll be a little bit early because this is important. And so we're going to just make sure everything's okay. I'm checking my crowd. I'm seeing who's in the house. Hope we got moderators on deck. For the first time ever, we're going to have a subscriber-only chat. But you can subscribe now to the show, and then you're good to go after a 5-minute grace period. So this is how we're going to do it tonight. So I'm sure this is going to be a riveting conversation, a very important conversation, and I'm so glad to have this opportunity to share it with you all. Yes. So Dr. West is not due until 6. I'm just early because I thought it'd be better to be early. What's going on, Patty P? Good to see you, Patty P. I see some familiar faces in the house. I got my VIPs working. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Please share this out. Let people know that we're going to have Dr. West on the show. Share it on your profiles. Let them know that we will be live momentarily. God of this shit. I'll say it. Hey, that's the screen name. You got to say the screen name when it comes up. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Yes. I see we got Dennis Columbia. Denise, is that Denise? Denise Columbia. Denise Columbia in the house, as well as Christopher Perkins. Salute to the Wolfpack. Asunta Fernandez, Sean Dawson, and Luis. Luis, what's going on, Luis? Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we are looking good. We're looking good. We are early. Like I stated earlier, we're a little bit early. We're going to give Dr. West an opportunity. But so let me say this, folks. Dr. Jill Stein and my friend Ajamu Baraka put out a statement in regards to the updates. If you follow me on Twitter at RealTimBlack, I did retweet the statement put out by Dr. Jill Stein and Ajamu Baraka in regards to the changes that we're going to discuss today. So, and I understand that Dr. Jill will also be on Sabby Sab's show at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, in a show of solidarity, after this show, please gear up to go see Sabby Sabs on her show with the great Dr. Jill Stein. And yes, please do that. Free Woodward. What's up, Free Woodward? Marcus Volka, what's going on? Wendy Grafton, how you doing? Ted Nance, how you doing? Cup of Joy in the house. Good to see you. So, just like you guys, this is a very important show for me. I'm just like you. I wear my heart on my sleeve when it comes to Dr. West. I am biased. I do support Dr. West because of his policies and because of the integrity that he's shown over the years. So that's the channel that you're on. And that's want people to be very clear about that. And as long as, look, you shouldn't have a problem with a person having a bias, as long as they're upfront about that bias. So this is, I've been touting myself as the #1 supporter of Dr. Cornel West. Of course, that's subjective, but I'm allowed to be subjective about my own channel. So I'm looking forward to this conversation, folks. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you are too. We just got a few more seconds before I'm sure Dr. West will show up and we'll get this thing kicked off. And we should get a notification when he comes in the room. So Nelson Ortega in the house. Let me get some more names. Nelson Ortega. Patty P up in the house. Another VIP in the house. Give it up for my VIPs. Thank you. Daniel Scott. Daniel Scott's in the house. Thank you, Daniel, for being here. I appreciate you. Okay. I hear you. I will. I can't read all this stuff. Bill Slotchin's in the house. Looney Tunes. Is that a 9? 9,000 Looney Tunes, 9,000. There it is. Here we go. Okay. Oh, that's just an update to my meeting that it's going. Yes, I do know. I'm well aware that the meeting is live. Okay. It should give me a notification when Dr. West has showed up. So now I'm early, and that's good. We were just waiting on Dr. West. Anybody know? So usually, let me update you. We are going to be doing new shows. We do a show now at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's our typical show, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the 10 Blacks table, 10 Blacks Black table. We're going to add an additional day because we need to do more work, frankly. And there we go, folks. And we are admitting. We are live on the air. We are live on the air, Dr. West. We are live on the air.
All right. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing excellent.
I was so blessed to see Sister Sheila in D.C. at Busboys and Poets.
Yes.
Lord, it was a blessing. Her presence, man, I'm telling you. You were blessed, brother. I know she's a blessed sister, but it was just a blessing to give her a hug and just sending love to both of you all, man. You just been so courageous, getting in all this trouble, trying to tell the truth and seek justice, and you do it in a wonderful critical and sense of humility, but still you got to be tenacious, man.
I do. Well, Dr. West, we are live, so I want to first of all let you know you're live now.
That's cool. Oh yeah, that's cool.
Making sure you know that because.
I go with the spirit, brother. I say same thing in private, same thing in public. That's how we roll, brother. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. But let me introduce you, Dr. West. I prep for this now. So good evening, folks. And see, I got my tie on, Dr. West.
You're looking so sharp. I'm going to catch up with you one day. One day I'm going to catch up with you. Now.
Man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, Dr. West.
Ooh.
But you do work, so don't change a thing.
Well, we all in need of transformation in one way or the other. Wow. You know what I mean? We all in process, man. An endless process, definitely. But I know you go right here and do your thing now.
There you go. Good evening, folks, everybody watching. I want to thank you for joining us on this monumental occasion. Today we're graced by the presence of a man who needs little introduction, yet whose accolades and contributions are boundless. Dr. Cornel West is a beacon of wisdom and an advocate for justice and a tireless servant of the public good. He joins a scholar, an activist, and a thought leader. Dr. West has never hesitated to challenge the status quo in the pursuit of truth and equity. Today, he steps into our virtual space with an announcement that reverberates beyond party lines and political allegiances as we weave through the tapestry of dialogue and discovery together. Let's warmly welcome Dr. Cornel West. Dr. West, how you doing, sir?
Oh, man, it's always a blessing to be in conversation with you, man, and I just salute you. You've been so strong and so consistent and so courageous in what you do and been so very kind of what I'm trying to do in terms of not just the person, but the cause, because the cause is bigger than you and I and everybody else. But we part of the cause, man. We're keeping the focus on the sacred needs of everyday people, not just here, but around the world, beginning with poor brothers and sisters and siblings and working class brothers and sisters and siblings. That's the real focus, and we do it with a sense of joy.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. In the spirit of your time, because I know you got a lot to do, let me start with my first question, Dr. West. The political landscape is buzzing with your decision to pivot from the Green Party to run as an independent in the 2024 elections. Can you share the catalyst behind the significant switch and what it means for the Cornel West 2024 campaign?
Well, let me first say that I'm glad to drop this on your show, because I know you and Sister Savvy and a few others have really been quite open in this regard. And that's why I'm starting here, that this is the first time that I get a chance to talk about it. And all it is just to say that I've always viewed myself as a jazz man. It's very difficult to remain within a party band. I'm not against parties at all. Parties can play a very important role. I've been blessed, in fact, to be approached by the People's Party, and then we had our own challenges I had to break. I was deeply blessed by Sister Jill Stein and my dear brother Jamu Baraka and the other brothers and sisters and siblings in the Green Party. And at the same time, that party had its own challenges. They were enabling in a number of different ways, but still had various kinds of challenges as well. And so I figured that the best way for me to be a force of good at this particular moment, not just in my life, but in the history of the American Empire, is to be an independent candidate. So I just completely, no kind of party affiliation, even though I embrace persons who are in various parties. It means then that because of course we all have limited time, limited resources, and in some ways, even limited capacities. All of us have that. But so the real challenge is going to be, how do you attempt to keep the movement-like character of a campaign that goes far beyond just an individual or person like myself, but do it in such a way that I'm free of any party encumbrances. So I don't have to worry about all of the internal struggles. I don't have to worry about even the nomination. I don't have to worry about going to all the different Green Party events and so forth. That's a lot of time, a lot of energy. I want to focus on the people, their suffering, their struggles, their needs, their cares, and try to do it in such a way that it's improvisational. What do I mean by that? That I'm free to say and do what I feel is in my heart and soul as it connects to this particular calling and cause, without any kind of party affiliation. And it's a tightrope to walk, though, and I want to be very honest about that, because people will think, well, this is just a narrow individualistic effort. No, every word that comes out of my mouth, every minute spent, has to do with a dedication to the people. You can have a people-centered campaign without necessarily being tied to a party. And that's something I think people need to wrap their minds and hearts around. And that's very important. I just had a wonderful talk with Brother Ralph Nader. Nader told me to do this from the very beginning. He said, Brother West, you really should run as an independent, because I've been through it. And I don't want you to have to go through this. Now, of course, Christopher Hedges, who's my very, very dear brother, he and I had been wrestling with this for many, many years and decades. And he was the one who actually suggested that I go to the Green Party. And because he knew that was going to be very important in terms of ballot access, the 18 states that they had, and the possibilities of being able to expand that. And yet now he agrees with me too. So that makes a difference. That makes a difference to me, that people who have been through this for a long time. Now, there's many folk, who I respect, who deeply disagree. They say, well, you can't really have an independent campaign that's tied to empowering the people unless you go through a party. I hear their argument. I'm unconvinced, because you can spend too much time on the party and not enough on the people. And there's just too many parties out there that are inward looking and not looking outward to the people, not just embracing the people, but organizing the masses of people, being rooted in the lives of the masses of people. And I should say this too, very important, that I am a Jesus-loving free Black man. And what that means is that I always begin with mom and dad. I begin on the chocolate side of town. And I don't know at the moment of a mass political party that begins on the chocolate side of town. We just don't have it. We tried to form one in Philadelphia in NBIP, Manny Marable's National Black Independent Political Party. We tried to do that at National United Front with Reverend Herbert Daltrey and Mary Baraka and a host of others. That was the pre-party formation, but it was on the way to party formation. Now people will come back and say, well, there he is talking about a race again. Yeah, that's true, because when you're talking about Black people and mom and dad, you're talking about humanity. And that puts me in deep solidarity with indigenous peoples, brown peoples, white peoples, Asian peoples, not just in America, but around the world. But I'll start on the chocolate side of town. I'm unapologetic about that, and I will never, ever feel as if I have to be silent in that regard, because that's who I am. I got to be true to myself. How you be a jazz man and trying to play somebody else's song, somebody else's tune? No, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work, and it doesn't work with this brother here. And so you saw what we were just in DC with Brother Andy and Busboys and Poets, and with Magnificent Medea Benjamin and Jody and all the others with Code Pink. It was magnificent. Why? Because it was solidarity. Same is true with UAW strike. Solidarity. Same is true with anybody undergoing subjugation. It could be Palestinians on the West Bank. It could be Jews in France. It could be Dalits in India. It could be gypsies in Europe. It could be landless workers and landless peasants in Brazil. They are crucial, but it's precise because I begin on the chocolate side of town that I have the resources spiritually and morally be able to embrace others. And that's very much what this campaign is about. And that's why we're going to surprise some people, brother.
Yeah.
We're going to surprise some folks. Well, if he's not with the Green Party, he must be moving to the center. Get off the crack pipe. Do you understand what I've been doing for the last 40 or 45 years without any party? Do you think I'm going to head to the grave or somehow not speaking to the needs of the very oppressed people that I've been in solidarity with for 40 years? Get off the crack pipe.
Well, Dr. West, you know, one of the pushbacks that we've been getting is not quite that. I've heard that, but that's from like the fringe. That's those people. What has been more loud is the sentiment that maybe that you've decided to go independent so you would not damage Joe Biden, because the ballot access of the Green Party being, as you stated, 18 different states already, that now as an independent, you got to climb this hill, and now you're not really a threat to Joe Biden. What would you say to that critique or that assumption?
I would say one is that the Green Party had 18, so we had 32 to go. 32 to go, and so that was already an uphill battle. That we're going to get at least 35 or 40, and the 35 or 40 are going to be the crucial ones. So that the proof is in the pudding. I understand people have a suspicion of that right now, but we got momentum in place for operations where we will be able, in fact, to get a good 30 or 35 rather than the 44 that Sister Jill and Brother Jamo got. And that's still going to be the crucial ones. There's no doubt about it. But on the other hand, people got to keep in mind, it's easier to get on the ballot with independent as opposed to party. Fewer signatures, less money in certain states. All these states are different, but in many states. So that it's not as if somehow I'm less of a threat. And not only that, but you know, the threat is an institutional and an infrastructural threat, and I can understand that. But as long as you have a presence as well, and you know you're going to November. We going to November no matter what. No matter what. And as those states accumulate, and as the language of anti-imperialism, anti-militarism, anti-racism, critiques of predatory capitalism, concerned about ecological collapse, and you saw the platform that we dropped today.
Yes, that was my next. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's kind of the lead that gets buried, and you were one of the few ones to pick up on that. And Anahita told me that, and Anahita says hello to you as well.
Hello to her, Dr. West. Yes,
that she picked up on that, laying out that platform, man.
It's people over politics, and you know, and the policy. The policy is what the people have really been clamoring about. Folks, I need you to all go check it out on the website. It's extensive. Dr. West, in regards to that platform, the unveiling of your new robust platform, which seems to carry a myriad of transformative policies. Can you highlight a few of those policies of that platform that elucidate how they address the current social economic condition of American citizens?
Yeah, and I do want to acknowledge my dear brother Anthony Rogers, because he's been strong. I mean, he's a specialist. He's a scholar when it comes to ecological crisis, environmental racism, but he's now at a vision that's broader, that connects environmental justice, the economic justice, the educational justice, the health justice, the racial justice, the global justice, all simultaneously. He played a very important role. He and Brother Peter, the same Brother Peter, the people were coming at he and Anthony at the center of. And your interview with Brother Peter was the best one of all the podcasts and TV. I can just tell you that now.
Thank you, sir.
Very much so, because that brother's undergone his changes and transformations. We all undergo changes and transformations, but he and Brother Anthony played a very important role, and others too, Anna, he too, what have you. But no, but what sits at the center of it is, I think, the intimate relation of domestic policy with foreign policy. So that the critique of empire, the anti-imperial policies go hand in hand with the critique of corporate power at home. They go hand in hand with the critique of militarization of American life, be it stopping the cop cities, be it ensuring that there's not just civilian oversight over the police, but massive, massive transfer of funds from police to programs that speak to the needs of people, as well as community groups that do their own kind of policing, the kind of thing that Charles Barron and them do in East New York. You see, we got to be creative in that regard. But as you know, I mean, I've got 12 different items under each one of those justices, and there must be about 7 or 8 of those. But at the center of it is trying to understand the relation between the militarism and the military industrial complex and the 800 military units around the world and 3,829 military units in the United States, the 57 cents of every dollar in the federal discretionary budget that goes to the military that leads toward austerity when it comes to programs, healthcare and jobs and high quality education and so on. And then I always put the critique of white supremacy and male supremacy there, because you can't really talk about predatory capitalism. You can't talk about militarism and imperialism unless you talk about Afrikaner and Africa, unless you talk about wrestling with what's going on in Haiti, the attempt to impose another kind of foreign occupation in Haiti, unless you're talking about what's happening in Jackson, Mississippi, now New Orleans and Flint. All of those issues are indivisible. Cancer Alley, in Louisiana, the ways in which the environmental crisis goes hand in hand with white supremacist abuse and white supremacist mistreatment of people of African descent. And so it really is a solidarity across race and across region and across nation and across gender and sexual orientation. But it's one that in all of the specificities, we got a whole little section on gay brothers and lesbian sisters and trans. We're not selling nobody, pushing nobody under the bus. We ain't pushing the Palestinians under the bus. I know a lot of people crazy about Brother RFK Jr., and I love the brother. He's just wrong on a whole host of issues, and I think he's out downright cowardly when it comes to Palestinians. And I can say that in love to the brother. You're not just wrong, that's cowardly, man. You don't have the courage to tell the truth about a slice of humanity whose humanity is being crushed. But these are indivisible. They go hand in hand, and they go hand in hand in such a way that we can speak a language that relates to large numbers of people, 63% fellow citizens living paycheck to paycheck. When I was there at the UAW strike with the brothers and sisters, some of them were Republican. They come up to me, Brother West, we appreciate what you're talking about in terms of the children. Man, my children having to deal with the internet, having to deal with the opioid crisis, having to deal with friends who are undergoing, if not drug overdose, God bless them, a drug addiction. And those are spiritual and cultural issues that go hand in hand with economic deprivation and corporate greed at the top. Same is true with fossil fuel companies and their corporate greed leading toward the elimination of life on the planet. How do you speak simultaneously about all of those? Truth, justice, and in the end, the love.
Let me ask you a question about your supporters, because this is impacting them, and they're wondering. Your switch would undoubtedly have various impacts on your supporters and perhaps draw new eyes to your campaign. How do you anticipate your current supporters will respond, and what message do you have for potential new supporters who align with the new platform?
Well, one, I'm the same brother, same cause, same vision, same calling, same analysis, same attempt to be a countervailing force against the hounds of hell, which is organized greed, organized hatred, institutionalized fear that loses sight of the humanity of poor and working people. I was the same person with People's Party, Green Party, now independent. Now, if they would say, well, we think that I would have to listen to some of their arguments as to how they think that this is like a major shift in me because it's a shift in my party affiliation. But I'd have to listen to the argument and hear exactly what they have to say. I mean, some of the strongest arguments would be, well, you can't really have Brother Jamu, I think, has this argument. I have great respect for the brother, but I think, and he wrote a wonderful, wonderful letter of support. He and Sister Jill wrote a wonderful letter of support. I want to acknowledge that. But I know deep down in his heart, he's thinking, now a people-centered party is important because you've got to have institutions and infrastructures to make sure your candidacy does not slide down the slippery slope of bourgeois individualism. That to me is very important. I appreciate the brother making that point. I really do. And the proof is in the pudding. We're going to see how the campaign proceeds in such a way that it keeps the focus on still a moment and a movement. The difference is be a moment and a movement that's no longer tied to the Green Party. And the Green Party has some magnificent things about it. The Green Party got some faults and foibles like any other institution on the left. And in many ways, brother, the American left is pretty weak and feeble in all of its forms. In all of its forms. Leo Chomsky used to say that America is one of the nations most in need of a revolution, but a nation that seems to be incapable of revolution because its left is so weak. That's Leo Trotsky living in Mexico before Stalin killed it, you see. And so we have to acknowledge the weakness of it. And yet at the same time, the potential of being able to intervene at this particular historical moment, what Gramsci would call a historical conjuncture, where people are most open to new ways of looking at the world, critiques of the greed of Wall Street and Silicon Valley and the war profiteers, the beginnings of an anti-war movement that's rooted in anti-imperial critiques of the American empire and its relation to what's going on in China and what's going on in Russia and the various attempts of the American empire to suppress Asia and to stranglehold Russia, which was the language of W.B. Du Bois in 1945. He said, I see a World War III in which the American empire suppresses Asia and strangleholds Russia. That's 1945, Du Bois. And I think we had to take that very, very seriously because that is a tradition that I come out of, in which by looking at the world through the lens of the wretched of the earth, that's the conclusion Du Bois had. And when you're part of that same tradition, you take Du Bois serious. Very, very much
absolutely,
so.
Absolutely.
But it's a different historical moment. 1945 is different than 2023. But the lens of that tradition is crucial. And we want to make those lenses more widely accessible, widely available. And most importantly, people have to see it in action in the fire inside of one's heart, mind, and soul and body, brother. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the challenges of the academicians and one of the challenges of the spectators of the struggle, who oftentimes have a lot to say, but not part and parcel of the forces at work. Because when you part and parcel of the forces at work, you seeing things that it's hard to see if you just a spectator from the side, you see.
That's right. That's right. Dr. West, you talk often about this being a movement, not a moment.
Yes.
And within that context, after this campaign, let's say for some crazy reason, some twist of fate that this is not successful, you don't become the next president, many people are hoping that we're gonna build something with this campaign that will endure and serve to be a catalyst or the infrastructure for a movement. People say, hey, Bernie had an opportunity. He put all these people together, and then things kind of went to the side after he didn't get the nomination. Do you have plans for developing, building this out as you do all this hard work, going state to state and getting all, setting up volunteers? Have you thought that far yet, or am I a little bit ahead of the game?
I think that I'd have to wait and see, because there's no doubt, and Anahita always reminds me of this, there's no doubt that the post-election period is going to be a very, very important one, especially if we have the kind of strong impact that we're planning to have. This is all assumed we don't win. We fight to win, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I also don't think that it's just a matter of creating new organizations. I think that there's a number of local organizations and regional organizations that could immensely benefit from the kind of thing that one is doing, even as one sustains a certain kind of institutional presence. But it's not like it's a new organization. I'd like to see more folk join Black Alliance for Peace.
Yes.
Which is, brother, I want to see more Black folk listening to Black Agenda Report.
Absolutely.
If we could double or triple the folk listening to Sister Margaret and Danny and the legacy of the one and only Glenn Ford, and folk joining Black Alliance for Peace, who are in process. They may not even be there now, but be in process. That to me is important. I'm just using those two examples because there's other examples as well.
Sure.
But I just use that as something that is important, because I don't think that the one person has to be tied to just a new institution and organization in order to be the ultimate outcome. No, it's a variety of different outcomes and impacts, but we just want a stronger, courageous, visionary, willing to live and die left. That's what we need.
That's what we need.
And sometimes it's going to be manifest in the mosque. You're going to get more Malcolm X's. Female, male, sibling. It'll be strong in our churches. Push out some of this all this market religion. Push out all of this commodified religion and get a strong, strong revolutionary Christian wing of the church. That's very important. Same would be true in our impact on entertainment. Same would be true with our musicians. All of a sudden we start getting a whole wave of Gil Scott-Herons and Nina Simone's. Well, that's not the revolution, but that's very important, because that's how you shift the consciousness and not just consciousness, but you shift the praxis of a generation. And our young people are hungry and thirsty for the real thing, but the real thing is not in one individual, not at all. The real thing is in the greatness of the traditions of struggles of a great people that is working through the individual. We look at Brother Tim, we see what's in Brother Tim. It ain't just Tim in there. You got all of mama, daddy, grandmama, Malcolm, all that. You look at it, me, don't just look at C. West. Good God Almighty. You got Irene and Cliff and Shiloh and the Black Panther Party and League of Revolutionary Black Workers and Daryl Mitchell and General Baker and Ella Baker and Martin and Malcolm and Ida B. Wells, all that inside of me. And to make that available in the flesh, and you offer it to the people in fleshified form to say, this is the greatness of the people that produce you. Get off of that mainstream superficial stuff. But that to me is part of the impact. That's part of the ways in which you're using your time, your energy, your body, your ideas, your pen, your voice, your painting, whatever it is, your preaching, whatever it is, to empower the people. And that's my, that's my humble opinion of it. But that's something that I've always tried to live for the last 45 years, and will be faithful unto death. That's what when some of the people say to me, well, somebody must have come in sabotaged his mind and convinced him, hey, what kind of black man you think I am? I mean, I could be wrong, but ain't nobody gonna come in and sabotage me and seduce me to do X and Y. They would have done that a long time ago.
Right. You wouldn't be running if that was the case. That's my pushback. It's they want to come with these ideas, these contrived like ideas of what's going on. And I'm like, if he wanted to support Biden, he wouldn't run at all. What are you talking about?
Absolutely.
It's a lot of activity to then fall on the sword for Biden. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
But I mean, but people are, part of it is, man, we live in such a spiritually impoverished culture.
Yeah.
That distrust is pervasive. Nearly everybody distrusts everybody. Yeah. And they project the worst in themselves onto other people. I understand that.
And they've been disappointed a couple of times before, Dr. West.
Chronically
heartbroken would be the word.
Absolutely. And I do understand that. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. But people need to understand that Sam Davis not Milli Vanilli, man. Everybody thinks Sam Davis and them just lip singing. No. Oh, David Porter and Isaac Hayes put on my soul. Man, they singing from their heart and soul. Milli Vanilli, I ain't got nothing against them, and going to do what they had to do and things, but that's a lip singing. The younger generation is so used to the lip singing that when Sam and Dave show up, they figure, man, check the machines, man. Check the machines. Are they really using their voices? Are the musicians really playing the drums rather than the computer drums? And are they playing the horns rather than the computer horns? Hey, we understand that, but we ain't these superficial kind of people.
Right.
We different kind of black folk, different kind of human beings, different kind of freedom fighters. We're going to tell you lies. They're going to make your projections. We understand, but just watch this over time and space.
Well, that's it, guys. Dr. Cornel West is pressed for time. Dr. West is Miss Anahita, Dr. West, the other Dr. West. We got a hard out, folks. So look, go to CornelWest2024.com. I got that right this time, Peter Dow. CornelWest2024.com. and put your money where your heart is and where your independent party heart is. And your fight for justice behind Dr. Cornel West. Dr. West, I'm humbled, man. I appreciate you, and I'm behind you. Thank you for coming on my humble program, sir.
But brother, anytime you call, I come running. You give a hug to Sister Sheila for me. I'm giving you a hug. And of course, I learn from you. I listen to your critiques. I listen to your insights that push me, because we too crack vessels. We too fallen human beings, but we also too proud, strong, critically minded Black men who are fundamentally committed to truth and justice.
Absolutely.
And so in that sense, we in the same band. You a jazz man, I'm a jazz man. You doing your thing, and I'm trying to keep up with you, brother.
Dr. West, I play the triangle in the back. I don't care. As long as you go up front, I'm in the back. Long as I'll be on point, though. I'm be on point.
If I can do my little Count Basie on the side, because he's a level of spiritual aristocracy I don't come close to, but he's always keeping track of the band and make the band center stage. You know what I mean? I love that about the Counts from Red Banks, New Jersey, man. That's part of the greatness. The greatness is always in the form of what? Serving the people.
Make me a better man every time I talk to you, folks. Once again, Dr. Cornel West, CornelWest2024.com. We're out of here. I'll see you soon, and let's end it there. Thank you.
Love you, brother.
Love you back.
Salute you and Sister Sheila. Thank you.